I think the biggest thing would be what I was talking about earlier, which is don't be afraid of the no's. Use that as an opportunity to fuel yourself to figure out a way to partner with that person or that company as well. It might not be the right time. And if it is meant to be in that sense, like it will happen down the line. It just takes time. So just trust the process and use the no's as fuel. Don't be so devastated.
You're listening to Customer Growth Sessions, presented by Intergrowth, where we talk through strategies to help up-and-coming e-commerce businesses bring in more customers. I'm your host, Pat Ahern. Let's jump in. All right, listeners, welcome back to the latest episode of Customer Growth Sessions. Today, I'm thrilled to have on Kate Cervini, the founder and CEO over at 100ml. Kate, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Pat. Really happy to be here.
We're so excited to dive in today. Can we start out with an overview? What is 100ml?
Sure. So 100ml is the one-stop shop for the modern traveler when it comes to skincare and wellness. We know how important skincare wellness routines on the go are to people, and it's only getting bigger. When you are booking travel, it's become so automatic and easy, and we're really looking to take over that space within the pre-journey preparation. So we've created a one-stop shop where we curate the best in skincare and wellness, all in 100ml or less. And we offer pre-curated pouches for different types of travel needs. And we encourage people to no longer run around pre-travel trying to find all of the different products that they love to use or sacrificing for products that they don't normally use to come to shop 100ml, curate their routine, and ship it directly to wherever they're going.
That's amazing. And I love hearing all this because you strike me as like the ideal customer for your own brand. I mean, we're saying right now you're recording from London, you live in the US, and then you're going to be flying back to the US for 4th of July, and then it's back to Europe and bouncing all over Europe the whole summer. So I can imagine that you're supporting your own brand quite a bit over there.
For sure. It was actually where I got the big inspiration from was just traveling so much for both work and pleasure. I have clients abroad. And so when I was living in New York full time, I was spending so much of my time running around New York City trying to find products that fit my travel needs and routine for me when you're traveling so frequently is really important. You want to create a little bit of home away from home. So my skincare and wellness routine has become such a staple in my everyday that I needed those specific products. So I started finding myself actually going onto the brand's websites, ordering it directly to where I was going. But sometimes I wouldn't get the package in time, or I would get it on the last day, and then I would end up spending more money, or I would have to settle for products that I didn't normally use, which then irritated my skin. And then I would end up wasting more money. Just seeing how people are interacting in the airports as well and getting their products thrown away at TSA because it didn't fit within the pouch or the little plastic baggie. I just was like, there has to be a more convenient way to prepare for your trip. And so I did a little bit of market research, asked tons of friends and family and people I didn't know and friends, and did a questionnaire and thought, you know what, let's try this. And here we are.
Amazing. I was going to say, I wish I had heard about you, call it like 2.5 years ago. When my wife and I were getting married, we were living in Stockholm at the time. We got married in Colorado, where the two of us spent kind of like the earlier stages of our relationship together. And we ran into that exact experience at TSA, where they were really strict about enforcing like, hey, all you can have is this one little plastic bag.
Yep.
And it's still a sore subject to this day, but she had to throw away a ton of her beauty products that she needed for the wedding. So we had to frantically go into a CVS, I think it was, once we arrived, and figure out how we could get like the closest equivalent of those. So it would have been nice to have met you a couple of years ago, Kate.
No, I have been a victim of getting my stuff thrown out a while ago. And also I see people getting their products taken all the time. And for some people, it's like a devastating moment. And also good quality skincare products are expensive. So you're just seeing the money get thrown away, literally. But now I just tell people when that happens, I just tell people about 100ml. And it's funny because the TSA teams at different airports are like, whenever they see 100ml, we're like, because I have some merch and I have the pouch, and they're like, that's amazing. Like, that's so cool. We love 100ml. And I'm like, that's my company. So it is like fun to interact with potential customers and share our company like IRL in airports and where it all can get connected.
It seems like there's a maybe slightly shady business opportunity to build relationships with TSA agents and have them hand out business cards for you whenever they throw things away.
Literally. I also hand out discount cards. I have a discount for flight attendants. So when I'm on planes, I hand out these little like cards explaining what 100 ml is and give them like a little bounce back because they also work so hard to make sure all of our flights are safe and making sure that everybody on the plane is really well looked after. So it's always fun to talk to them too, because they get really excited and they end up using it, to be honest. So it's pretty cool.
That's amazing. Well, that's a perfect segue. One of the things that really struck me when you and I first met is how big a role B2B partnerships have played in growing 100 ml. In particular, I was blown away by everything you shared in terms of what you've done with hotel partnerships. Mm-hmm. So I want to start out diving really deep into that. Can you give us a little bit of context? How have, let's say, hotel partnerships to start out really helped you to grow 100 ml? What have you done there?
Yeah. When you're a brand, you're really looking to build community and you're looking at different ways to tap into other communities that are either through brands or through different companies and collaborating with them. I used to work in the fashion industry and I used to work with the streetwear brand Kith. And Ronnie Feig, he's like the master of collaboration. So I had the pleasure of watching him and learning from him and learning from the company. And for us, we really wanted to go where our target customers were and are. And so we kind of not low-hanging fruit, because none of this is low-hanging fruit. It's actually really challenging. We thought, okay, let's go out to hotels. I think that's a great starting point. We can really create a unique experience for each hotel partner in its own way, because each hotel is very different. They all have different ethos. They all have different values. They all have different focuses for their guest experiences. So last year was really the first year in 2024 where we dove deep into that. We're American based, so we're based out of Michigan. And so our main focus and our main market focus right now is America and North America, and really growing that customer base and growing those relationships across the board with all different types of partnerships, and then looking to expand more so in that realm to Europe and the rest of the world. With hotels, what we did was we put together a target list, and this is very similar to how we started the company in terms of our brand partners as well. We started a target list of just like every sort of hotel that is out there, specifically more like boutique and design hotels. We had everything from boutique hotels and design hotels to like the major hotel groups on there. The hotel groups we would love to get into, but we're small and like bandwidth is a big thing. And when you are approaching those hotel groups, we know we have to come ready. We know we have to come ready with a plan, an exact like way of actually approaching them. So for us to start out, we're like, let's go with more independent boutique design hotels. I created this huge list and I put together kind of a brand deck of who we are and a kind of what it could look like for partnerships with them, and kind of gave them like a tiered out level. For us, the big thing I wanted to make sure is that it wasn't such a big lift for them, because it comes both ways. We want to make sure that we're here to support them and their guest experience. We want to bring back that convenience side of travel. We want to bring back that like extra touch of concierge level to travel and to hotel guests. So what we did was we just literally cold emailed hundreds of hotels across America and lots of follow-ups. And we slowly started getting responses, and we slowly started getting on calls with people and introducing who 100 ml is and what we could be doing with them. And we landed our first one, which was with the White Hotel in Brooklyn. It's a Michelin star rated hotel, 5-star hotel. It's beautiful. And we ended up doing like 4 different types of partnerships with them. And then we started talking to more and more hotels in New York. And then we talked to hotels in California and across the US. And partnerships don't just happen overnight. It takes a lot of building trust, having those conversations, and really learning about what the hotel is wanting. It's not about just sharing our story with them. It's really listening to what the hotels are needing for their guests and how we can actually help them give their guests an even better experience. So we started out with a list, we cold emailed and got on calls, and then slowly but surely hotels were starting to come back to us. And then we started getting inquiries from hotels and having hotels come to us. So it's been really rewarding, very exciting, a lot of test and learn. And we're looking to definitely grow those partnerships bigger and bigger. For me, relationships are everything. So building that trust and building those types of relationships where we take feedback from them, we give them feedback, and how can we make this and evolve this to being a bigger partnership down the line.
There's so much gold in there. And I want to start out talking about the cold outreach process a little bit more. So it sounds like you started out with a list of a few hundred different hotels, started just reaching out to them and really just following up very regularly until they started responding. What learnings did you have in the outreach process that you can share with listeners, whether it be like certain themes in the email templates, certain points of contact that you found were more receptive, automation processes maybe that saved you a bunch of time? I'd love to hear a little more about that.
Yeah, sure. So when we first went out, finding the contacts has always been a problem. It's always hard. Luckily now there's a lot of different tools that can help pull contacts for you, or going on at least finding the structure of an email and going on LinkedIn and finding, for us at that time, it's marketing partnerships representative for those hotels. We really went out normally to partnerships manager, marketing manager, maybe a sales manager. A lot of the times we had to email the info or reservations at, and if you're persistent enough, and that's been the name of my game since I started my career. It's just being super persistent until it's a no, it's a no. And to me, it's not even a no forever, unless people are like, don't ever reach out to me again, which I've never received. There's a way of going about reaching out. For me, in terms of the email structure, I was introduced who I was. I made it personal in the sense of like, I didn't make it so serious. I did have it be like a playful tone of voice in my voice, was direct on like what 100 ml was, really emphasize some of our key brand partners because some of them are very well respected in the industries. We're really like tight on who we are as a company, and then why we loved that specific hotel and like why we would want to partner with them and some of our value alignment. I think that's a really big thing right now in terms of any company is like core values, whether that's from like the sustainability, customer first, guest experiences, convenience, and then kind of just like the options right there and then of like quick bullet points, like these are what we're thinking. And like, we would love to get on a call and here's our brand guideline or our brand book. And then just, I also use Motion. I'm obsessed with Motion. And just put my direct booking link so people could book whenever they felt the need. It wasn't going to be a million back and forth of like scheduling. And it worked actually quite well. I mean, trust me, I'm not saying that I got a response off of the first email. I've had to do a lot of follow-up in the past and still do a ton of follow-up. And I normally wait like a good week, maybe week to 5 working to 7 working days. And then if I don't hear after like the third time of a follow-up, I kind of put them in like a reserve category where then it's like, okay, maybe in a month time or 3 months time, I'll go back out. And getting a no, I think people are really scared of getting no's. So a no is to me not a scary word any longer. I think you get the word no a lot as a founder, especially when you're trying to raise and partner. And it's a no is just an opportunity for you to kind of step back, see how you can reapproach that specific ask or that specific partnership. And at some point, you also might be saying no to a partner you thought you would never say no to because it might not be the right time to do a partnership. And I think that's something that is really, Matt, like a very big learning from all of this. And that I think a lot of people don't really take a step back after they receive that no. They take it as like a personal, like they don't like my company. And it's never nice to hear no, but use that as like power to refuel you to go out and go take a step back and reevaluate your approach or your email or your deck or your asks, because maybe in 3 months time, when you go back to that same partner, just wanting to introduce the company and reignite that conversation and just wanted to share, like, we took your feedback or we said that our previous ask wasn't correct or wasn't the right fit for you, but how about this? And you might get another no, but that's another opportunity to make adjustments and go back to them and again until they say, please never contact me ever again, which you most likely will never get. So yeah, those are just some of my tips.
Tell me if this sounds like you. You've started scaling the business through PPC channels like Facebook, but now it eats up 80% of your marketing budget, and ad costs continue to rise, pushing your margins down more and more every month. PPC is great for scaling your business in the early stages. The issue is PPC is like a faucet. As soon as you stop spending money, the sales instantly go away. So rather than paying per customer, we work with brands to build a steady stream of new customers through SEO. Those customers continue to flow for years after brands stop working with us. Interested in hearing more? Reach out to us directly at intergrowth.com/CGS to book a complimentary strategy session with our team. I want to talk about like email, let's call it like email discovery tools.
Sure.
For us, we've had success using two primary tools. One, and I'll give them both a shout out here, is Email Hunter. The second one, we've used Apollo a lot to find people's emails. Like Kate,
Okay.
when I think back to when we were first getting in touch, if I remember correctly, I think we used Apollo to find your email. For you, what tools have you found are effective?
I've used, it's a app that you can, I mean, I'm sure all of these apps you just can integrate into Chrome, but it's Snovio, SONOV.io. And it's similar tool to what you just mentioned. And so that's what we've been using, which has been super helpful. You can categorize the lists, and that's been great for us because it helps us with like brands, hotel partners, other types of partners that we're trying to get in touch with. And I think that sometimes you always have to double check because these tools are incredible and can pull so many names that are attached to that, but some aren't there. But it's a great way for you to also go and check on LinkedIn. Is that person still there? So, you're not wasting time hunting. And it's a great way to like do a lot of that upfront work, like frontwardly before you go out. Like, I think that's the biggest tool I've also learned is like, take the time to build out your list for partners, find the contacts, then get your email ready, then go out, because then you're just sending like copy and paste. You can personalize it however you want, but then you can go out and make it a really seamless process for yourself. Like it'll save you time on the back end if you do all that work in the front end. And then that way you'll obviously continue to build that list but do it in chunks, like do 50 and then send those 50 out, then do another 50 and send those 50 out. We can be building lists for days and months and years. Like that list is ongoing constantly. And so that's another really big tip of mine is like do that work up front, because then you're really setting yourself up for success from a time perspective. And also then you can like, maybe you'll find a lead through your first 50 that you're going to do in your second 50. So yeah, that's using Snovio or some tool like that to pull contacts has been such a time saver. But also then like doing all that prep work before you start sending out is also great.
Amazing. So when it comes to cold outreach, I've heard a lot of different perspectives on almost, I would call it like the correct matrix to go with that drives the best results. And I'd love to hear your take on this. When I think of like the cold outreach matrix, in one quadrant, there is, or maybe one side of the spectrum, there is very short emails, like one sentence, 2 sentences long. Other side of the spectrum is going to be much more in depth, providing a lot more context on your brand, call to action for how you can get in touch. And then similarly, opposite quadrant, maybe, or opposite, maybe a spectrum that we're looking at is very almost like generic cold outreach emails intended to just mass blast as many potentially relevant people as possible versus like very high personalization level, sending out far less emails. Within those, call it 4 quadrants that come together, what approach have you found to be most effective?
I think for us, what's worked well is just being kind of like personal, but then also like it's kind of a mix, to be honest with you. It is that personal level because we are integrating, like we are doing the research of those hotels of like what could be a great fit for them. But then also we want to be a little bit detailed on like who we are because we're still young and a lot of people haven't heard about us. You know what I mean? So we do feel like we need to give like a little bit more clarity around who we are. Also listing like the brands and the press that we've received kind of gives us that more reputable level of like we're real kind of thing and we can deliver. So I think it's a mix of 2 of those where it's like we want to be a little bit personable with that specific hotel, but then we also want to share in a little bit more in depth about us. And for us, that's like 3-4 sentences maximum. And then it's like going straight into this is how we could partner. But now we have a deck that we actually just like include, and we just list very brief, like the 3 tiers. So then that way people are like, oh, that would actually be interesting. Let me click on the deck, or let me just respond and say, sure, let's set up a call. So for us, it's definitely, we do get a lot of emails out still because we have a really strong template of what we need to fill in. So it's pretty easy. But at the same time, sometimes I just want to write people and say, hey, I'm Kate, founder of CEO. Here's our website. Check us out. We would love to partner with you. And maybe we should try that. I mean, again, like being a young company and a founder that, is still learning so much. And by all means, like none of the things that I'm saying is like the perfect way to do it. You have to find your own way. But like for me, we are doing so much testing and learning, and that's fun. Like sometimes you'll test something and you'll be like, that didn't really work. And we're still evolving how we're partnering with hotels. We want that to be continue to be a big part of our business. And partnerships and collaborations are huge parts of our business. We only have one product that is our own. And we would love to do exclusive merch one day for some of these hotels and these partners. It needs to start out small. For us, I think it's always about starting out small, finding that right niche, and then growing that and building that relationship with that partner. So yeah, I think maybe next round, I'm just going to do a few tests of emails. But then also for me, it's like when we do those follow-up emails, if we get lost in that person's inbox, it is a quick, hey, just wanted to circle back. Would love to have a 10-minute call with you to talk about like what you guys are looking for and to enhance your guest experiences. And yeah, and it's quick. It's like 4 sentences, not even, maybe even 3, just trying to get them on a call. And sometimes that's when they really bite and they get it. It's just everybody's busy. Everybody's inboxes are insane. People are receiving a ton of emails a day. So you got to stay at the top of that email. And that sometimes just takes a couple follow-ups.
Struggling to get new customers? We're here to help. Hey, this is Pat, the host of Customer Growth Sessions. Our agency, Intergrowth, has been helping e-commerce brands like Bella Bridesmaids, Brevity, and JS Dental to get more customers online since 2016. Interested in seeing how we'd help you? Head over to intergrowth.com/CGS to book a complimentary consultation with me. That's intergrowth.com/CGS. All right, back to the show. And some of the big things that I'm hearing from what you shared there is, one, don't take it personally if people don't respond to your emails or say no in your cold outreach emails. I mean, that's a huge part of the process. That the stat that I'll typically hear is like cold outreach, if you're doing it well, expect like a 1% success rate.
Yeah.
If you're doing an exceptional job, maybe it's like 5%, but that's pretty much unheard of unless you're doing a lot of personalization. Mm-hmm. 2, it sounds like you've built out a template that currently works very well, but also gives you the freedom to add in that personalization element. And it sounds like that's been a big key to success for you. I love what you mentioned about the idea of testing. And listeners, if you want to dive deeper into testing, we did an episode at the very beginning of June. I think it was beginning of June that we released it with Nathan over at Pair. And he talks quite a bit about some of the A/B tests that their team has been doing. Highly recommend checking that out if the concept of A/B testing terrifies you, because he does a great job of pointing out, hey, A/B testing doesn't have to be this really robust thing. It can be as straightforward as testing out 2 different postcard styles and seeing what works better. Same thing with email outreach. If you build out 2 different templates, you see what's driving a better success rate. You send out 50 emails with one, 50 emails with the other. You are able to look back down the road and say, hey, this is working way better for our brand than the other one.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's like such a big message, is the fact that you want to try to get it right the first time, and like it probably won't be right the first time, and you kind of just have to let that go. And that's the beauty of really doing the testing, because then you get to, every company's different, every founder's different, every story is different, and you have to stand out in your own way. So it might take a little bit of time to find out what your own way is, and that is okay. Wouldn't you rather take time and test it? And then you can say, we've done this, we've done that, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. Okay, let's take a step back. What can we try next to see maybe that is how it works? And it can really help. It can help you so much in the long run, because also, not to say that in 3 years' time, your company has evolved. you have evolved as a founder, your desires and what you need out of partnerships have evolved. So that's going to change again. So like, I think letting go of that idea of like, I have to get it perfect the first time. If I don't get responses, that means I failed. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that you get to take the time to really continue to try and test new things and figure out what is going to work for you and your company. I think that took a long time for me to swallow, for sure, but we got there, and we're still evolving. We are still changing. Again, we're 2.5 years old. You know, we only have 1 year under our belt right now of really pushing these partnerships, and we've broken out our partnerships into different silos because we're going after different types of partners. It's not just hotels anymore. It's different types of companies and partners within the travel space. And those all look different. The approach is all different for each one of those. So we're learning and testing new things for these different silos and seeing where we can take them. So yeah, that's my biggest like takeaway with all of this is like, don't feel like you have to be so precious about everything and perfect, because there's no world where anything's perfect. So yeah, just a friendly reminder.
Let's jump forward a little bit. So you get in the inbox, let's say, of a handful of different hotels, and you start getting responses from these hotels. I'd imagine there's some variance in the process depending on one hotel versus the other.
Yeah.
But I'd love to better understand what that process looks like from there. Talk us through those first couple touch points you have, and maybe what that procurement process looks like for really starting up an official partnership with a new hotel.
For sure. It starts with listening the partner of like, what are they looking for? You reached out to them. You already pitched them. The work's not over for you, but you've already shared your story with them. It's time for you to like stop, listen, and hear what they need and hear what, where are they focusing in their values right now when it comes to guest experiences? What do they have coming up in their marketing calendar? And a lot of the times they're coming to us because they are coming back to us because they have something that they want to use us for or partner with us for. So it's first understanding that, then really narrowing down like what we can do and how we can help them. A lot of the times, a lot of the hotels that we've been partnering with have been wanting to curate a 100 ml pouch with some of our brand partner products for a specific package deal that they're offering or a specific event that's happening in the city where they are. And so then that way it's, okay, can you give us some descriptions of like what kind of scents and products are you wanting in that pouch to really give it the experience? And then it's also asking, when is our pouch being given? Is it at check-in? Is it in the hotel room? Because we want to show up in the way that we want to show up as 100 ml, because we're not the ones handing the pouch or shipping the pouch to the customer. It's already in a space that is very relevant to where 100 ml should be showing up. But it's also the fact that wanting to make sure that we are showing up in the way we want to be showing up. So we always include a card that gets sent to all of our customers when we ship it directly. It's just a letter from me explaining why we started 100 ml. And then sometimes with the hotel partner, if it's around something, if they want to do more storytelling about the partnership, we'll do an exclusive card that explains the partnership between a hotel and 100 ml. And then it's timings and timelines. And I'm a project manager and event producer from my background. So love a timeline and deliverables and deadlines of when we want to push this live. And then we discuss like marketing opportunities on both sides because it's a two-way partnership. And then we set the launch date. And then we do all the back end stuff, all the behind the scenes of a partnership. So yeah, that's pretty much kind of just like the process of once we've gotten on a call with them.
Amazing. And how long do you typically find that timeline is from when you first hear back from a hotel? Let's assume we're not talking about hotel chains. Maybe we're talking about individual hotels with like, let's say 5 locations max.
Yeah.
What does that timeline typically look like from first response to, first project together, or let's say the first hotel guest officially receives 100 ml?
Sure. It's typically, we like to have it be at least 2 to 3 months lead time, just because we are very conservative with our inventory, what we're sitting on. Beauty products do expire, so we don't want to be sitting on a huge amount of product. And also, not every single hotel is buying the same or wanting to have the same products in their hotels. So we definitely have to go out and place those orders. Normally, the first call is really an introductory call and a time for us to kind of learn more about each other and kind of start building that trust, start building that like bringing out each other's personalities and having those kinds of conversations. That allows you to kind of gauge if this is going to work or not, because I'm sure many founders out there have had conversations where you kind of get that pit in your stomach and you're like, something's not setting right with me. And I can see this might be a really big challenge. And also like maybe they're not giving as much as you're putting in, and like a partnership, sometimes that happens, but like I would much rather have that be with like a really big partner where I know what I'm signing up for. And it's a big platform for us to be projecting ourselves out to. We understand we're still small and we love every single partner that we've ever worked with. But sometimes you kind of get that taste in your mouth or that feeling in your stomach where you're kind of just like, this could be really challenging. Then you as a founder take a step back and you're like, do we have the bandwidth for this? What else we have coming up in the pipeline for marketing and partnerships? So that intro call is like actually really important. Then we kind of like move into that world of like, if we decide to go forward, it's setting those T's and C's of like, after we know what we're doing, what are our terms and conditions when it comes to these partnerships, getting the agreements drafted, all of that fun stuff. And then for us, then setting up that timeline of like marketing rollout, because that's a huge part of it. What is that content really looking like from both sides? Is it a collaborative post? We have a standard kind of like, if we do a partnership, you get X, Y, Z. And then we will always like push partnerships as they continue, or like, you know, do a little reminder push and bump, because we do have different timings when it comes to like our newsletters and our Substacks and all that good stuff. And then the product gets delivered. They probably want to shoot it on the property. So that takes at least a week or two for it to turn around. So yeah, like I would say from start to finish, it's around like 2 to 3 months in a beautiful, ideal world. Have we turned it around much faster? Yes. And it's busy and it's hard and it's a sprint. But at the end of the day, like we can do it. Like I love a adrenaline rush when it comes to these types of things. So we definitely can do tighter timelines, and we try to accommodate as much as we can with our partners. Obviously, we want to make sure that we can deliver. And if we want to be a part of that opportunity, we sometimes just have to press fast forward very fast and shrink that time into half the time. But that's okay. We make it work. We're quite nimble in that way. So yeah.
Amazing. So last thing I wanted to ask you about today, Kate, is let's say you can go hop in a time machine. You can go back, let's say 3 years and talk to yourself, pre-kicking off, let's say, all these hotel partnership, call it all this hotel partnership outreach and partnership building. Mm-hmm. What advice would you offer to yourself from 3 years ago that you really wish you could have heard back then?
I think the biggest thing would be what I was talking about earlier, which is don't be afraid of the no's. Use that as an opportunity to fuel yourself to figure out a way to partner with that person or that company as well. Also, it might not be the right time. And if it is meant to be in that sense, like it will happen down the line. It just takes time. So just trust the process and use the no's as fuel. Don't be so devastated. I think when I started the company, I was getting a lot of no's from brand partners, especially because that's what we started with. It was a little like hard to swallow, not because I have a big ego, but it was just like, oh my gosh, some weeks I was only getting no's. And then the next week I got 3 yeses, and the no's made the yeses even more exciting, because those are people that really believed in what we were doing and wanted to be a part of it. So remember that like the no is a fuel for you to take a step back, and the yeses that you're going to get, see the vision of what you are trying to accomplish with your company and want to be a part of that. So take those yeses and like celebrate those, because those are exciting wins and those are continue to be future wins. So that's what I would tell myself.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, Kate, first of all, let's say like D2C customers who want to buy 100 ml, where can they go to actually buy 100 ml online?
Yeah. So check out shop100ml.com. And we have a great curation of incredible brands, all from skincare, hair care, dental, wellness, sexual wellness, feminine care. And you can curate your perfect routine, ship it to wherever you're going, or you can shop one of our 10 curated pouches that are for different travel needs. So go check us out. Thank you so much.
Amazing. What about for listeners that want to join the community? Where should they go to follow you on social?
Yeah, so we have a LinkedIn, which is 100ml. We have Instagram, which is shop 100ml, and TikTok that is at shop 100ml as well. So feel free to follow us on any of those. And if you want to subscribe, we have a newsletter that goes out bi-weekly, more around like products. And then we have a Substack of just fun, exciting things that we have launched for the month or are looking to highlight, and also some newsworthy bits around the travel space.
Once again, listeners, this is Kate Cervini, the founder and CEO over at 100ml. Kate, thank you for coming on today.
Pat, thank you so much for having us. I'm very happy to be on this, so thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Customer Growth Sessions. If you found it helpful, subscribe and give us a review. It helps us to grow the show. Looking for more SEO guidance on how to grow your business? Contact us at intergrowth.com/estimator or email me directly. You can reach me at pat@intergrowth.com. That's all for today. We'll see you again soon.